and welcome to Biznomics, your weekend's most profitable 60 minutes. A new year, new hope, new challenges, new ambitions. No matter what business or industry you are in, we here as Team Biznomics intend to give you the support so that you can go further and beyond and achieve success in your line of work, whether you are a professional or an entrepreneur, empowering you with local market insights, global trends, and most importantly, expert opinion. The market movers, the market shakers, and the key players of the industries, they all meet here, where we discuss what's the latest and what should you know as a citizen of this country about the latest situation in the business and economic landscape of Sri Lanka. With a slight twist to make things more interesting, from today, the Biznomics episodes will be conducted in English for the ease of comprehension for all our viewers. Today, our focus is on an industry that is heard of but not always spoken about, and that is the battery production industry of Sri Lanka. Is there scope for it? One might even wonder, are we actually manufacturing batteries? But what's the real background story to this? Where is this industry right now in Sri Lanka? And most importantly, like we have always been asking, what steps do we need to take this industry further and strengthen it and make it an even bigger key contributor to the Sri Lankan economy? To discuss about this with me today, we have a specialist and a veteran in the field of automotive battery production, who is none other than Mr. Shriyantha Kure. Shriyantha, wish you a very happy new year and welcome to Biznomics.
Wish you the same, Tarindu. Thanks a lot. Thank you very much for inviting me here.
Pleasure is always ours. Shriyantha, now let's talk about this battery production industry. Not an industry that we speak about all the time. And I believe there are many different angles to this. You get the automotive battery production, you also get the batteries for all these, I would say, electronic items. Today, in a digital world, no matter what we do, we are being battery powered. And the day is not far where we will be having various body implants in ourselves, digital implants, which also require batteries, where that's, I guess, where we cross the line between being human and more of cyber, what we call cybernetics. So tell us about this battery production industry worldwide and in Sri Lanka. The forum is yours.
Yes, Tarindu. Thank you very much. The battery industry is one of the most lucrative industries in the world.
Wow, not many people know this.
Exactly. And also, it is one of the fastest growing industries. That is mainly because now the world is, as all of us know, the world cannot depend anymore on fossil oil. So we have to, convert ourselves for renewable energy. It is a requirement because of the environmental impacts. So the transportation industry is moving towards electric vehicles. So there is a huge requirement for batteries.
Understood.
Because battery is the storage device, and you need, as you said, for different products. Also, for different industries, you need a battery. So when we talk about batteries, you get, three main segments. One is the automotive batteries. Obviously, there is the biggest, they are having the biggest share. Then you get the industrial batteries, then the portable batteries. But when
portable batteries are for like mobile devices and all
exactly,
that. Okay.
Yeah. So when we talk about the battery market in Sri Lanka, say about 80% of the market requirement is for automotive batteries. But in worldwide, all three segments have almost equal shares, where the automotive segment is having 35% share and the balance two almost having equal shares. So worldwide, the battery market is around, it's about 115 billion US dollar market,
wow,
annual market,
massive.
Annual market. And
Shriyantha, let me just interrupt you there. 115 billion dollar annual market worldwide overall for batteries.
Overall, yes.
And now it might sound for a global industry to be a little bit on the smaller side, but having said that, this is an industry that you don't get many players in. So a few players are enjoying a massive amount of industry value there.
True. And there again, the industry is growing the worldwide at the rate of 15% year-on-year basis.
Whoa.
And from 2023 onwards, it will grow in a faster rate than earlier. That is mainly because of converting all transportation vehicles into electric vehicles. That is the main reason.
Shreyans, just to add a little thought to this, we saw recently Boris Johnson, the Prime Minister of UK, has clearly mentioned that by 2030, all vehicles on British roads need, or at least the ones that are being imported, has to be all electric. And we saw even in this pandemic, so many electric vehicle brands are being extremely profitable. Some of them are now being valued at trillions of dollars, like almost 750 trillion dollars. That's it's a massive amount we are looking at for this industry in terms of the future potential for automobiles.
Exactly.
And we saw even countries like China actually announcing massive battery production facilities where it kind of doubles the current capacity in their country. So, as you very correctly said, we are looking at the future and maybe one of the most vital industries of the future, isn't it?
Exactly. The industry is booming. As I told you, in 2025, it will touch 300 billion mark. And beyond that, it will grow faster space because most of the countries are aiming to convert, as you correctly said, like UK, even India, they are planning to convert the total vehicles into electric vehicles by 2040. So likewise, the whole world is moving towards electric vehicles. So it's going to be a booming industry. When it comes to Sri Lanka, as I said, 80% of the total market requirement is for automotive batteries. So it's around, all in all, it's about 5 billion Sri Lankan rupee annual market. It's not that big, when we compare the world market.
Understood.
But there is a potential for so industry can be expanded a little more.
Correct.
And
I believe, Shreyans, where there is a lot of potential because we still have a lot of our population living in what we call rural areas, about 80% or more. And as more of them are becoming more urbanized and as more of them move into the urban sectors, they need transport and they will be going for automotive methods of transport.
Yes. Mostly the people will go for motorcycles. And even right now, you get about 5 million motorcycles registered in Sri Lanka. It's a big number. It's about, 1/4 of the total population. So the industry is growing. So Understood. It's a good industry.
And Shreyans, what about the labor force we have for this sector? Because any industry needs a good, strong labor force. How many people are involved right now in the country from your information, or at least as an estimate? How many Sri Lankans actually involved in this industry of battery production?
Yeah. When we take, the direct and indirect both.
Yes.
It's around 4,500 to 5,000 people are involved in the battery industry in Sri Lanka. And you get about 1,200 dealers across the country. And so a big number is involved, in the battery selling as well.
For sure.
Then
the dealers, those who are selling.
Yes. Their counter staff, other people and everybody. So on top of it, you get the supply chain. In Sri Lanka, the lead is available, the refined lead. So unlike, some other products, so battery industry in Sri Lanka can add about 70% of the local value addition for the total. So although the industry is small, a big number, compared with the size of the industry, about, altogether about 5,000 people are involved directly and indirectly.
Noted. Let's talk about this concept of electric vehicles. As you very correctly said, the demand is high for electric vehicles, and at the same time we also see that there's a rising demand for smartwatches, mobile phones. These all require batteries. In your perspective, especially with the current situation that we are actually facing as well, where we are looking at sourcing from Sri Lankan sources, do we as a country have the potential to meet the full battery power requirement for all sectors? Do we as a country have the potential capacity to meet this requirement, Shriyantha?
Yeah. As I told you about, when we take, the Sri Lankan market, unlike the world market, about 80% of the total battery requirement is for automotive batteries.
Understood.
So when we talk about the automotive batteries, for the motorcycle segment, you need about, 100,000 motorcycle batteries per month. And whereas the local, the manufacturers are capable of producing about 150,000 motorcycle batteries per month. And the automotive battery requirement is around 60,000 batteries per month. Whereas the local manufacturers are capable of going up to 80,000 batteries per month. So as a country, the battery industry is self-sufficient. But, there again, unfortunately, so a lot of imports are, flooded in the market as well. So we have to address these issues.
We will be definitely touching upon the concepts of government policy required to further strengthen this industry. I also like to ask you at this juncture, in terms of the avenues for people to learn more about this industry, because unfortunately we see a huge trend among especially young students, young graduates, to always be entering the service sector. Comfy officers, dress up well, and as a result of it, in my perspective, in my view, I believe we are to a large extent undermining the great production capacity that we have, the manufacturing potential this country has, and we have seen so many industries going down due to that reason. But if a young student wants to enter this industry, battery production, automotive batteries or general battery production industry, if they want to enter that industry in Sri Lanka, are there enough avenues for young students to learn about it, Shriyantha?
When it comes to the, if I say that, the worldwide opportunities, yes, I should say yes, it's available. And in many universities in the world, you get the battery faculties, the lead acid battery faculties, and also like lithium ion battery faculties. So you get, this kind of lead battery divisions. But unfortunately in Sri Lanka, you don't get, this kind of facilities, because since the industry is small and the scope is a bit limited, when we take, there are only few players in the market right now in the industry.
Local manufacturers. So unless or otherwise you get, first-hand information by working in a factory, it's very difficult for you to, get the know-how. And but there again, the battery is not a simple process. You need qualified staff for that. Tell us more about this. I believe this is one of the main aspects of the industry dynamics, and you as an entrepreneur in this industry, you have built a company with an operation on this sector, so it would not have been easy to do that. So do share with us the dynamics of this industry and what experiences you faced. Actually, as you were saying, it's a very complicated product, isn't it?
Exactly. Because, in my case, I got myself collaborated with one of the leading battery manufacturers in the world. So as a result, I got the technology. Because, the technology was not available in the country. So that was the main reason that we have gone for a collaboration. So if it is not available within the country, we have to go for, this kind of a arrangement. Otherwise, it's very difficult for you to, manufacture a thing like battery. So as I said, but right now, there are 3 players, operating. 2 players are purely for automotive batteries, and 1 player is for UPS batteries. So you get, you cannot say that there are no opportunities at all. You get opportunities. But when it comes to this particular industry, you need mechanical engineers you need for this industry. You need the chemical engineers, and you need chemists, and also the QC staff. all these, you know, I mean, you need a qualified staff. You cannot just, you know, I mean, manufacture a battery with ordinary, you know, I mean, set of people, because we have to maintain the quality in plates. The chemistry should be 100% correct. And also,
After all, if there's an issue with the battery, then it can even lead to a lot of accidents and unwanted problems as well in the long run.
Exactly. And also, like, you know, I mean, there again, it's involved a lot of chemicals, like even the sulfuric acid. You have to have the correct ingredients. Otherwise, you know, I mean, you cannot get a good output, you know, I mean, end of the day. So you need, you know, I mean, all these, the testing facilities, and so there is a scope for, like, you know, I mean, there are some local engineers have developed many things, like, although R&D in Sri Lanka is not that great, but still our engineers, those who have, you know, I mean, the people who have come from Kathmandu University and from the other places as well, they have gone little, you know, I mean, beyond the industry norms, like, you know, I mean, even the welding areas. We have developed the welding areas perfectly, and, like, you know, I mean, then even the sulfuric acid areas, like, you know, I mean, if you take sulfuric acid, you get the purity rate and the impurities. So you have to balance all these things perfectly. So you need, you know, I mean, there is a scope for youngsters to join this industry and grow. And also the specialty in this is you get only limited people with the knowledge. So you can grow yourself, you know, I mean, if you want to go to the top, yes, this is one of the best industries for you to master.
And are there Sri Lankans who have started off in this industry in Sri Lanka, and where they have later on been recruited by foreign companies to work for them due to their expertise? Do we see that kind of scenarios as well?
There are a number of people, few people, not that you cannot say that, you know, I mean, there's a big number, but
yes,
there are few people who have gone abroad, you know, I mean, for the battery manufacturing. And also recently, you know, I mean, especially for lead acid batteries, a lot of companies, they are going out of, you know, I mean, the US, especially, you know, I mean, the US companies, they want to set up factories in Africa. So one of the, you know, I mean,
is Africa emerging as another global hub for battery production?
Exactly. And so one of these companies invited us to join, you know, I mean, to share our expertise in this. Likewise, you know, I mean, you get opportunities.
Absolutely. And do you also see, Shriyanta, that in this battery production industry, now Sri Lanka, I mean, as you said, it's a complicated product, but sometimes even global players, to a large extent, overlook Sri Lanka as a manufacturing destination when it comes to some of these technology products. Definitely, I believe it's one of the great missed opportunities from the 1980s time, where when they were searching for a global hub for manufacturing of these technical, electrical, electronic items, we were not in the best of, although we had all the factors, we were not able to capitalize on that opportunity, and that work went to countries like Taiwan. But you are saying, if we have three players, and if we are at a position where we can enter into industry collaborations with other players from other countries, that means they are, even for a technically complex product, Sri Lanka is a potential place of or hub of manufacturing. Is that what you are saying?
Exactly. Because as I said, you know, I mean, the Sri Lanka is fairly a small market. So unless or otherwise you go for a value-added product, it's very difficult for you to survive. So you should understand, you know, I mean, now as an example, if we take, you know, I mean, the Bangladesh as an example, say
becoming very fast and very industrialized nation.
Exactly. Say about 15 years back, their government has decided this as a potential industry, and they have imposed import duty, say about 90% on imported batteries. So the local industry started growing. Today, there are about 20 players in Bangladesh, local, totally, you know, I mean, the domestic players, and they are catering to the 100% domestic requirement. No imported batteries available in Bangladesh. On top of it, they export So they are generating about 250 million US dollars annually from battery exports, and they
Huge potential.
Huge potential, and they are aiming at 1 billion to reach 1 billion in 2025 by entering into the lithium-ion battery manufacturing.
So a lot of regional lessons to be learned as well.
Exactly.
We will talk about this in more detail. How has COVID-19 had an impact on the battery production industry of Sri Lanka and around the globe? We will talk about this after this short break. Stay tuned. This is Biznomics. Welcome back to Biznomics, your weekend's most profitable 60 minutes. I'm Tharindu Amarasekara, and on this episode, we are focused on understanding the automotive battery production and the battery production industry in general. Where are we as a country on this industry, and what's the current global status, and most importantly, what steps do we need to strengthen this industry and make sure that it becomes a further vital and key contributor to our economy. And joining me for this discussion is a veteran in the field, Shriyantha Kure. Shriyantha, let's talk about the new technologies that are revolutionizing in this sector. Because as the consumption gets higher, demand gets higher, even due to COVID-19, we see lots of people staying indoors and they are using electronic items, which is batteries at the end of the day. And from one side, while some transport has got limited due to COVID-19, the supply chains become even more important than what it was before. So there is a lot more movement. More home deliveries mean a lot more movement in the automotive sector as well.
Correct.
So I'm quite sure that COVID-19 has revolutionized the transport sector in many ways, and therefore the battery production industry as well. But tell us about some new technologies that are truly changing this industry.
Okay. If we go back to the history, historically the conventional batteries or the flooded batteries were available in the market. The biggest obstacle in the conventional battery was, you had to top up water, and there was a water loss, every time, like you have to maintain the batteries quite frequently. You had to, do that. But in the recent past, the industry has developed VRLA battery, that is you called valve regulated lead acid battery. So with this technology, they have totally overcome from the water loss issue, totally eliminated this. So you don't get water losses in the the current batteries. It's coming as a sealed battery and totally maintenance free. And when we talk about the latest development, the world is moving from lead acid battery to lithium ion batteries. That is because of the performance, lightweight, and all these, so many added values are there.
So lithium ion batteries are actually giving more performance.
Exactly, more performance. So in the electric vehicles, you get lithium ion batteries. But in the very recently, one of the Chinese companies, they have developed a fusion battery that is a combination of lead and lithium, because lithium, they have inherited minuses, and if you take there again the lead also having inherited problems. So they have eliminated these minuses and they have put together lithium and lead, and they have developed a fusion battery. So if you take the global arena, most of the fossil oil companies, the energy companies, they are entering into the battery industry.
But they know that's the future.
Exactly.
Is that why they are entering?
Exactly. So they invest heavily in R&D, and the industry is changing rapidly. If you take, even the portable batteries, even
that is for mobile phones and smartwatches.
Yes. So initially, it was made out of nickel. Then came a nickel cadmium combination. Now again, all these batteries are, changing towards the lithium ion. So the future is lithium ion, and the technology is changing rapidly. We have to get ready for that as a country, as as manufacturers. We have to get ready. But right now, all lithium-ion batteries are, restricted to few countries.
Are they trying it out, or since you mentioned about this few countries, having a more of a control on this sector, let's talk about some of the global leaders in battery manufacturing, because we are at a point that industries are being redefined, reimagined, rethought of. Every time we have seen after a pandemic, even going back to the 1920s Spanish flu, after a pandemic, when the world is looking for new ways out, for new options, we see new industries springing up. And right now, we are in a post-COVID time period, or at least we are in the pandemic, and we are slowly trying to emerge out of it with different levels of success. Probably the next big question will be what's going to be powering this world. And we both know, Shriyanta, you and I, we both know, whoever controls the power to the industry will rule and dictate terms in a geopolitical arena.
Correct.
Like how we had initially people who had the access to oil, the biggest consumer of oil and the biggest supplier of oil were defining the industry, global economic dynamics for that matter. But now things are changing. We see battery power coming into the picture. We see more and more green energy, clean energy coming into the picture. So in this regard, I believe that whoever has more control over the global battery power, battery production market will have a huge say in the global geopolitical arena. In your view, what are the countries that are emerging as global leaders in this battery production industry, and what can we as Sri Lanka learn from it? Because I believe this is one industry where we can still try and be a part of the global supply chain and carve a niche for our economy. What do you think?
Exactly. Right now, about 97% of the lithium-ion battery industry is being controlled by China, US, Japan and Korea. So these four countries, they dominate the lithium-ion battery industry.
Can you repeat the question? Can you repeat the four countries again?
China, US, Japan and Korea.
Noted.
So these four countries, they dominate the lithium-ion battery industry. But when it comes to the lead-acid batteries, initially started in these countries and they have shifted towards the other countries. Now the countries like India, there again China is always top, and Indonesia, Vietnam, all these countries, they are exporting in big time, like the lead-acid batteries. So this is the time, if you can go for, it's a highly technical battery, if you're going for lithium-ion, it's not that easy. But
not your average battery.
Not the average battery. So if you can go for some kind of a collaboration, because they are looking, because the industry is growing. So US cannot do this, forever.
Correct.
They have to, go out of US because of their cost factors and all these things. Even Japan and Korea and China, of course,
so
they will
manage. 3 of these 4 countries that are dominating it are from Asia. So that means Asia might actually be a potential hub for such investments.
Exactly, exactly. So Asia is, again, all these 3 countries, if you take, if you put together, the majority of the lithium-ion battery industries, it's being dominated by Asia. And if you take, as I told you earlier, these countries will definitely, the Japan is very, very expensive, in their manufacturing. So they have to go out of Japan. So this is the time that you have to look for new opportunities, and it's the right time. If you can, then, they will be happy and they'll be glad to go for a collaboration with a country like Sri Lanka, because our level of education and the other infrastructure facilities are always, little, or, it's better than if you take a country like Bangladesh or India. We are in a better footing for this kind of a niche product, value-added product.
Understood. Shriyanta, I like to always give an opportunity for market movers and shakers and the industry players to raise out concerns that they have when they are in a particular industry, because this is the platform. As a media, it's our duty to give you that opportunity to share your concerns and let the country know, the nation know what challenges you as the business community is facing. So as a battery manufacturer in Sri Lanka, giving employment to Sri Lankans and trying to fulfill Sri Lankan power requirements in the automotive sector. What are the challenges and problems that you and other fellow battery manufacturers are facing in Sri Lanka? And feel free to go into great length and detail, because I know and I'm sure you have a lot to say on this.
Yes. The biggest problem is the free flow of imported batteries into Sri Lanka. As an example, there is no standard, because we have the SLA standard. There is no standard imposed on imported batteries, where the motorcycle batteries and import industrial applications are concerned.
So you're saying it's not really a fair competition then?
Not at all.
Because you have to go through all the standards and guidelines and all that, and here any battery can be imported, which doesn't sound like a level playing field.
Exactly. And you get, all inferior quality batteries are coming into the market, and on top of it.
So when you say inferior, you're talking about more like dumping.
Exactly.
You make some very poor quality batteries and you just send it to Sri Lanka. And we have been having this issue where some of the exporting countries have been looking at the Sri Lankan market as a garbage dump, where they think any poor quality thing can be sent away. Time we changed it.
So, we are in discussion with the relevant authorities to impose the SLA standard for imported batteries. I think, they will take up the matter very soon, I'm sure about it. And the next problem is, the policy inconsistency. That is an inherited problem in Sri Lanka. So that we have to overcome from this issue.
Understood.
Because if you take, the automotive batteries and the motorcycle batteries, all this time the imported batteries were under 30% duty structure. With the recent budget, it has come down to 15%. But on top of it, they have imposed a cess, but still the importer is more benefited with the current scenario. Maybe a technical issue, like as an example, for a battery earlier per kilo they have charged 165 rupees or 30% duty, whichever is higher. And on top of that, now so 165 rupee has come down to 100 rupees now. So the duty has come down. But they have imposed, they are again 15% cess or 100 rupees per unit. So when it comes to 100 rupees per unit, again, as you know, there are a lot of juggleries going in imports, like the under-invoicing, avoiding duty, and all these factors are there. So we have to regulate these things as an industry if we want to grow. Then there again, as I told, Sri Lanka has reached the self-sufficiency in battery manufacturing. We don't need, the batteries are to be imported.
And you are saying even for automobiles, we are able to, like for bikes, cars, we are in a position where we can produce the batteries.
Exactly. Because for the automotive market, you need about 60,000 batteries per month, for Sri Lanka. So whereas we altogether, when we take the combined manufacturing capacity,
yes,
you can go up to 80,000 batteries per month in automotive segment. For motorcycle battery segment, you need about 100,000 batteries per month, whereas the combined manufacturing capacity has can go up to 150,000 batteries per month.
50% more.
50% more with a 70% local value addition. So that's the beauty of this.
Understood.
And you need only 30% raw material to be imported.
So even the support industry, you are saying even the support industries for this sector is actually there in Sri Lanka.
Correct. And if you take refined lead, so you get about 1,500 metric tons refined lead available every month, in the country. Whereas for the battery industries, we need about 400 metric tons. You have an excess capacity of 1,100. So if we get some support from the government, as I told earlier, the Bangladesh has imposed, 90% duty on the battery imports. So if we get some sort of, this kind of a support from the government, because you need some support, at the growing stage.
Understood.
Then our conversion rates will come down. Our manufacturing capacities will go up. the output will go up and the conversion rates will come down. Again, we will be more competitive in the international markets. We will be able to not only cater to the country by preventing imports, we will be able to earn foreign exchange by doing exports.
Which is very much badly needed right now for the economy.
Exactly. So these things, number one is we have to address the quality, we have to impose the standard for imports, and number two, you need the policy consistency from the government. They have to ensure for next 5 years, 10 years, this is going to be the policy for this particular industry. Then we can make our investments, like we can invest in plate manufacturing, we can invest in lead smelting, recycling, all these things we can do, unless or otherwise we get a clear-cut policy assurance, we will not be able to know. No company will make their investments without knowing the future, without knowing a clear future.
So Shriyantha, what you're actually saying is that there are investors who are ready to invest and take this industry forward, but if every 5 years we are going to hit a reset button on a particular industry, then we can't really expect investors to do that, because as you very correctly said, no one wants to make a high risk investment amidst uncertainty. And am I correct if I say that what is actually required is not just a short-term promise or program that might disappear in 5 years, but a proper plan where the government recognizes battery production industry of Sri Lanka as a strategic industry for the future? Because just like how we looked at tourism and tea initially as strategic industries, now in a more digital world where batteries will be key, we should look at battery production as a strategic industry and then give assurance, okay, here is a 10-year plan, and no matter what political party comes in, we will buy into this plan and execute this. Is that the kind of assurance you need?
Exactly. That is what we want. So if we get some kind of, that sort of assurance from the government side, the people will invest, and we will, as I told you, relatively, the Sri Lankan market is, relatively small when we compare with other countries. But we can look for beyond boundaries. Definitely we can go, we can go for exports.
Correct.
Once we start our smelting in-house, and once we start our plate manufacturing, and once we increase our capacities, our conversion rates will come down, and we'll be more competitive in the international market, and we'll be able to, go for beyond Sri Lanka.
Excellent. As a young professional, if you are considering entering the industry of battery production, what do you need to know? Stay tuned. We will find out about this and more after this short break. This is Biznomics. Welcome back to Biznomics, your weekend's most profitable 60 minutes. Our focus is on the battery production industry of Sri Lanka. The way forward, how do we strengthen this further? And most importantly, as a young professional, if you are considering entering into this industry, or as an investor, if you plan to enter into this category of business, what should you need to know so that you will not be skating on thin ice and you know what you need to know? This is our focus today on Biznomics with Shriyantha Kure. Shriyantha, now let's talk about COVID-19. Now you were mentioning some challenges earlier, the market was being flooded with imports, etc. Now, what has been the impact of COVID-19 on this sector? Because the truth is, I believe COVID-19 was an opportunity for the Sri Lankan manufacturing sector to show the rest of the country and the world, hey, don't forget us as a manufacturing hub. Am I right in saying that? And did that apply to the battery production as well? Was COVID-19 actually a boon to the battery manufacturing sector of Sri Lanka? Was it beneficial? What can you say?
Yeah. Anyway, COVID-19 has become a challenge, not only, the battery industry, the whole world, if you take it, as a whole. But if you're talking about the manufacturing in Sri Lanka, as you correctly said, we have shown our strengths. Particularly, even there were no forums for us to, talk about our industry issues and all these things.
It was not seen as a strategically important industry.
Exactly. But, in the recent past, there were so many forums open for us to talk about our difficulties, talk about, the strategies, what are the supports that we need, and all these things we are talking about the industry impacts. So there again, I think almost all the local manufacturers have been benefited up to a great extent with the current scenario. That is
kind of a reward for all the resilience they have shown through the previous years and decades.
Exactly. So there are some import restrictions, and on top of it, we are also facing certain issues with the supply chains and all these. There are so many issues we are facing, but somehow we are managing. So almost all three players in the country are managing very well the situation. Without a scarcity, we have been able to supply the total requirement to the market.
We did not hear about any lack of stocks or people saying that they can't find batteries. That is not something that we actually heard. So well done to the industry on that.
Thank you. But there are some the imported batteries, of course, it got affected, but the manufacturing industry got benefited under the current scenario. So we have to be thankful to the relevant authorities as well, for taking timely action. But if they go little further, like the policies, if they set consistency, and also imposing standards. So any industry cannot, thrive without a standard.
Correct.
And
if you have to forget about thriving, it's tough to survive without a standard.
If you take, the local manufacturers, I should say, our batteries are in par with any top global battery in the world where the quality is concerned.
Are you saying this with responsibility?
Exactly.
Because a lot of the time people go for imported technological products with the maybe one would say understanding, another one would say misunderstanding, that foreign technological products or foreign batteries are of a much higher standard, because that's how it's promoted as well to a large extent. But you're saying no, the batteries made in these emerald shores of Sri Lanka are actually on par with, in terms of quality, with the rest of the world. Is that what you are saying with responsibility and authority?
Definitely, 100%. Now I'll give you a small example. Even the conventional batteries, that was the how the battery industry has been started. Still the conventional flooded batteries are flowing into the market. It's coming as imports.
The outdated ones, the outdated technology.
Outdated technology. But in Sri Lanka, we are using VRLA technology and no flooded conditions. We are using AGM separators. You call it absorbed glass mat technology. So acid absorbs into this AGM separator, and there is no flooded condition in a battery, and it has been regulated, well regulated, no maintenance. It's 100% factory activated, it's ready to fit. And also we take the lead plates. We are taking 99.99 refined lead, and the quality of acid what we are using is top in the world. So the last outcome, and also all of us are having SLA standards, ISO standards, all these things are there. Plus the quality controlling systems and all these things are intact. So our products, I should say, whatever the products manufactured in Sri Lanka are in par with any top brand in the world where the quality is concerned.
Nice to hear that as well, Shriyanta. I have a little cross question here. Let's say if somebody is watching the show and thinking, okay, I want to invest and enter this sector. I personally don't think that we, being a small country, will be very good at the numbers game. because our monthly capacity, let's say if it's 150,000 motorcycle batteries for a month, that might be what one Chinese factory produces for the entire week. Now, my question to you is, if an investor is planning to enter into this industry, yes, partnering with industry experts like you, or let's say bringing in the technology themselves, in a situation like that, should they be looking at the economies of scale or economies of scope and going for maybe much more higher quality, higher performance batteries? What do you think about that?
As I told you, Sri Lanka is a relatively small market. You know, I mean, the two players who are involved in the automobile sector are capable of meeting the 100% requirement of the local market. And the UPS player is, you know, I mean, very much capable of meeting the local demand, and also they are exporting their products out of the country. If you want to enter into the market, yes, no two words about this. Battery is a very good industry. We can recommend,
yes.
But look for beyond boundaries, not the local market. And if you take, you know, I mean, the countries like Malaysia. So in Malaysia, you get, you know, I mean, huge companies who are involved in exports. Bangladesh, you get global leaders, you know, I mean, in Bangladesh now. They are exporting in a big way their batteries. So
and this is all within the last 15 years they have
last 15 years, yes. So as a country, we should not restrict ourselves to the domestic market. We have to see the outside world. So outside world is huge. It's a big market. So we have to, you know, I mean, if you have a plan to come into the industry, look for beyond boundaries. Not, you know, I mean, this market is, it's not the, you know, I mean,
final endpoint. It can be a launch pad.
Exactly.
But it's not the, I would say, touchdown location.
Correct.
And on a final note, Shriyantha, for any young professional, any young student who plans to enter this industry, a young engineer who is planning to explore battery production as a future career, what is your advice to them? What skill do they have, do they need to have? And most importantly, as I always believe, you know, if you take fights are won in the global economy, not with plans and theories, but with attitude. What attitude do they need to bring into the industry?
Now the manufacturing, the outfit has changed, not like those days. So if you enter into a factory, now we don't say that it's the factory floor. We call it shop floor. So it should be in immaculate condition. Number one is that. So we have changed the environment. And you don't feel like you are working in a factory. You are working in a normal environment.
So the normal picture that someone might paint in front of their eyes when you say battery production environment with chemicals and with that smell and with noise and all that, that is not the reality.
It's not the reality at all. We have taken all the precautions, like, you know, I mean, the local manufacturers.
I really like how you share the credit with the entire industry. I believe that at a time, a lot of businesses and business leaders try to really, you know, keep things to themselves and own the credit. A lot of people, they love to share failure, but they love to own the victory. I like how you are sharing the credit with the entire industry, and that's, I believe, a sign of a good leader.
Thank you very much. Thanks for the compliment. So, Tarindu, we have taken all the precautions, you know, I mean, to have the minimum impact on the environment. Like, you know, I mean, there are no fumes. You don't see, you know, I mean, you don't smell the chemical, you know, I mean, there are no chemical impacts. So even the lead impact, we have, you know, I mean, taken all the precautions, like, you know, I mean, the lead compatible masks and all these respirators and all these things we have taken, you know, I mean, into the, you know. Also we do a lot of recycling, even the water recycling, and we have taken a lot of precautions in order to minimize the impact on the environment, because, you know, I mean, always people say that this pollution related industry, it's no more. We have eliminated all these factors. I mean, all our three players have eliminated this. And for if I want, you know, I mean, if I asking you you asked me, you know, I mean, what kind of advice that I could give for a young guy
who is wanting to enter this industry.
Enter the industry. You have to see where you want to be headed. Where do you want to be ended up? So, if you are a young graduate of, you know, I mean, a science graduate, either a person who is specialized in chemicals or the mechanical side, you have a big scope in this industry. Right now, there are so many chemists, chemical engineers and mechanical engineers working in this industry right now. You can get first-hand information by working in a factory. Or else, if you want to go a little further, there are so many universities in the world who are providing adequate knowledge and the background for lead acid batteries and the lithium ion batteries. So you have to see where do you want to be, you know, I mean, end up yourself, and you have to focus yourself accordingly. You know, I mean, to get either to get through the experience, you can definitely, with the knowledge that you have, the theories that you have followed in the university, you can start applying here. And also you can learn so many things, and the finer points are very, very important, you know, I mean, for the final quality of the product.
Correct.
So these things we have to
Attention to detail.
So that has to be there.
Shriyanta, you mentioned about the skill. Final note about the attitude. What's the attitude they need to bring in? Because they are not just coming into some large, well-established industry. They are coming into an industry which is, I would say, at quite a nascent stage in the country. I mean, in terms of taking it global. So what's the attitude they need to bring into the workforce?
I should say that, you know, I mean, there are a lot of complaints about the attitude in Sri Lanka, especially, you know, I mean, the youngsters. But I have seen in the recent past, a lot of things have changed.
Good news.
Even in the universities, I think, I mean, they are giving a lot of training, and, you know, I mean, they are, you know, I mean, giving certain educational, they give some facilities and all these things.
Correct. And we see now some universities, those days, 10 years ago, they had a module called strategy, where they just talk about planning and strategizing, but now they have modules called strategy execution, where they are training these people. I'm also involved with some universities like that on that basis, but they are training people. They get people from industry to come and say what it means to solve problems, what it means to really plan in an industry manner, because I think that ability to execute strategies will be crucial for the people that come into this sector, isn't it?
Exactly. Yesterday, you know, I mean, one of the undergraduates called me just to get some, you know, I mean, information about, you know, for their assignments. So I was surprised with the questions that they asked me about, you know, I mean, went on to detail, like, you know, I mean, the Kaizen, the production, planning,
the
capacities, technologies, and all these things. So I can see that, you know, I mean, there's an attitude change. So as I told you, so those days, if you are working in a factory, you think that, you know, I mean, you are working in a kammala, like, you know, I mean.
Yes,
so,
yes.
So now that
blue collar,
blue collar, it's no more. It's no more, you know, I mean. So industry, almost all the industries have developed, and they have changed the environment.
Understood. So steps in the right direction, and
exactly.
hopefully things will transform.
Correct.
Our focus today was on the automotive and in general battery production industry of Sri Lanka and the world. Where are we in this global industry? It's a flourishing industry with great potential, but we need to up our game and make sure that the same mistake we did with semiconductor and such electronic circuit industry in the mid-1980s is not repeated with this great economic opportunity, where as the world moves towards electronic vehicles and the automotive sector transforms itself along with the battery requirements for portable electronic devices, this is one strategic industry that will redefine and reshape global economics, and we need to be in the right position to surf those economic waves and make sure that industry flourishes in Sri Lanka. I'm quite thankful to Shriyanta Kure, who joined us to share his thoughts on this industry. Shriyantha, thank you very much. You touched on all the facets and dimensions of the industry in terms of industry insights and even what skills the students need to have, and also from the investor perspective. May this new year be a flourishing and a very powerful one for you and your organization.
Thank you very much. Wish you the same. Thank you, Taridu.
With that, we wrap up today's episode of Biznomics. This is your weekend's most profitable 60 minutes. I will see you with the next episode.